Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video. Loki is officially here, and in this video I'm going to be giving you guys my review for episode 1 of Loki. Basically how this video is going to work is I'm going to give you guys all of my spoiler-free thoughts in case you haven't already seen the episode, and then I'll give you guys a warning before I start my spoiler thoughts on the episode, and there'll be timestamps in the description down below if you want to skip to any certain part of the video. But before we get into the video, if you guys haven't already entered my Black Widow Funko Pop giveaway, make sure to do so. All you have to do to enter is subscribe to the channel, like this video, and comment down below. But without wasting any more time, let's get right into it. The first thing I want to talk about is obviously my spoiler-free thoughts. And oh my god, in this episode, the pacing is just off the charts. I definitely felt like it was a little bit too slow at first when I was watching. I would probably say the first 15 to 20 minutes was super slow, and honestly, I was about to fall asleep, and then it picked up, and I thought it was perfect pacing at the time it picked up because it was slow at first, giving us a little bit of a backstory on Agent Mobius and the TVA. When setting up the TVA, I liked how they took their time. They didn't rush it because they could have easily overwhelmed us with so much information because they were talking about a bunch of different aspects that I don't want to mention just yet. But again, they could have definitely overwhelmed us with the amount of information about the TVA, but I like how they're keeping some of it a mystery and telling us about some of it. And like I said before, I felt like the beginning of the episode was so slow, but as it started to pick up at the 20 to 25 minute mark, that's when I realized it was slow for a good reason, and then when it started to pick up, it was phenomenal. Personally, I definitely think that the pacing of this show is going to be what's most important because they're going to be doing so many different things. The TVA is the Time Variance Authority. They're going through different timelines, spectating different timelines, watching over and authorizing these different timelines, and that's just so much information to pack into these super long episodes. And so I'm glad the pacing in this first episode was so good because that gives me so much faith for the later episodes, and just knowing that they know how to pace themselves and they know how to slow down whenever the time is necessary. Like I said before, the backstory in the TVA is so well done, and on top of that, Agent Mobius is so well introduced. He's such a great and fun character already. He already sympathizes for Loki and what we know in this episode about Agent Mobius, and he already has great character development when it comes to the connections with Loki in this one episode alone, so I can't wait to see how they use his character later on. Also, the dynamic between Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston is so well done, and I just had such a great time whenever it came to the comedic aspects of the episode. But one thing I wasn't really expecting was the emotional connections that we had in this episode, and I honestly was about to cry at one segment of this episode. There's one entire segment, it was at least 10-ish minutes, I would say, and I almost started bawling my eyes out. But now I'm going to be talking about all things spoilers when it comes to the reviews, so if you haven't already seen the episode, just click off and then come back whenever you have seen the episode. But the first thing I want to talk about is what I was talking about earlier in this video, where we talked about the TVA and how they really well explained everything that was going on with the TVA, how they became a thing, or what their entire authority over the timelines really was. And we got a lot of multiversal mentions, and they were so prominent in this episode, and I really like that because we're finally getting direct connections to the multiverse itself instead of them just being stupid jabs like the Evan Peters one in WandaVision, and then Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio being a fake person from a fake multiverse. I just liked how we have a real connection now, and it's just gonna get bigger and better from here. We all know that the multiversal trilogy right now is WandaVision, Spider-Man No Way Home, and Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. But if you guys didn't know, before Sony and Marvel made the deal right after Far From Home, the multiversal movies / projects were supposed to be WandaVision, Loki, and then Multiverse of Madness. So it looks like they still kept a lot of the multiversal aspects in this show, so I can't wait to see how that progresses throughout this show. And I'm going to be working on a video right after this video comes out where I talk about all of the multiversal possibilities going off of just episode 1. But moving on, one thing I really liked about this episode was the fact that Loki doesn't really accept himself at first, and he realizes, or Agent Mobius tries to make him realize, that he is basically a killer and he kills for fun. But at the end of the episode, obviously we realize that Loki admits that he's not killing for fun and he doesn't necessarily enjoy it, but that he is the villain, and that's kind of what he was put on the earth to do. It's not even necessarily that he likes to kill, that's just what his story is. Loki saw the future at TVA, and he saw that he's the one who led the elves to kill his mother. He's the one who sat next to his brother when his dad faded away in Ragnarok. And finally, and something I didn't think they would show this early in the show, was that him dying in Infinity War, He got to see that. That was crazy. I did not expect him. I expected him to show it eventually in this show, but I didn't expect it to be this soon. And the final thing I want to talk about is something that's a little bit smaller, but something that I still think is pretty interesting, is that in this episode, whenever Loki was threatening Casey at his desk, we saw infinity stones inside of Casey's drawer desk, and Casey specifically said that there are a bunch of them and people use them as paperweights now in the office. This probably means that there's a bunch of different people going in alternate timelines that are trying to get the infinity stones. And on top of that, whenever Loki asked one of the, I think it was like a court lady or court marshal, was like, shouldn't you be tracking the Avengers since they went back in time? And the lady was like, no, but that's their path. That's what they're supposed to do. So the TVA knows that all of these things are going to happen, and they know that all of these things are set up to basically defeat Thanos, but they can't interfere even though they know what's going to happen. For example, the TVA probably knew that when half of the population got snapped away, that everyone would come back, and they knew that everything would be fine, but they're just not allowed to tell anyone else because then they would act differently, and then that would mess up the main standard timeline. I forgot exactly what they called it, but they basically know everything in the universe, which is absolutely crazy, and that's a crazy power to hold in the MCU. That's honestly crazier than any magic powers or spells can get you in the MCU, in my opinion, because you can basically tell if someone's gonna win a battle. And yeah, guys, those are all my thoughts, spoiler-free and spoiler, of Loki episode 1. I actually hosted a watch party at 2:30 a.m. this morning, which is 30 minutes before the episode came out, and I'll be doing one next week for episode 2. So if you guys want to join that, hit that subscribe button and turn notifications on so you don't miss it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.